welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Thursday morning or afternoon, depending on when I'm actually uploading this. I'm not too sure. Hope the day is going or about to go well, whatever it is. Obviously, if you've got the day off, enjoy it. If you're working, just try and get through it. The weekend is nearly here. Got a bit of an interesting one, really, in this. And we're talking Ivan Toney, we're talking Santiago Gimenez, and we're talking Albert Gudmundsson, because there was a report came from Florian Plettenberg surrounding Ivan Toney and a very, very peculiar valuation. And if it is this cheap, I don't think he'll be on the market long. We'll also be talking a report surrounding Santiago Gimenez and Spurs having contact with his representatives and much more. So plenty to get into, plenty to talk about. Just want to say though, if you're new, give us a subscribe. You're very much so good to join us for the journey. And let me start with Ivan Toney. I think that's what I'm going to go with. So from Florian Plettenberg, it said that news Ivan Toney, the 28-year-old striker, could leave Brentford in the summer. That's a given. West Ham have inquired, but it's not hot at this stage. Been told the price tag is around 30 to 40 million, all in at the moment. Many clubs in the Premier League are interested. Chelsea and Arsenal are monitoring him closely for the summer. 4 goals and assists. I mean, let's not really focus on the goals and assists when he's missed time. Okay. I can understand why people maybe aren't too keen on Ivan Toney. You know, with the whole betting suspension, people kind of look at that as a negative characteristic. You know, some people maybe have looked at his obsessive need to talk about leaving Brentford. You know, I can get that. I can absolutely get that. He's 28 years old. This is his last big move, last big contract, probably. Unless he does well and maybe gets a bit of a pay increase. But let's be honest, this is probably his last big contract, right? So he wants to make the most amount of money. He wants to play Champions League football. He wants to have success. He wants to be in the England squad regularly, right? So 30 to 40 million all in for a Prem-proven guy who, let's be honest, before he was getting suspension, he was on for 20-odd goals in the season for Brentford. I hope we're in. Do you know what? I for a while I was like, nah, I don't think so. The more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, 30 to 40 million. 28 years old. Prem proven. In the England squad. He's a different kind of striker that we don't have. You know, he's a target man. He's good in the air. Hell, he can take a set piece and he can certainly take a penalty. But I do get why people maybe aren't too keen. And that's why this is beautiful. This community is awesome because there's some players that you like that I don't, and there's some players that I like that you don't. And that's the beautiful thing. We're allowed to like players and we're allowed to not like players and vice versa, right? With Ivan Toney, for me, I think about not what he'd unlock for this attack, because I think we kind of know what we were having. But with Ivan, it's when I look at the team this season, so I'm not caring about past season, I'm talking about this season, how has it looked, and at times maybe what we've missed. And there's been games where it's like, yeah, this is a Sonny game. You know what I mean? Like, balls in behind, high press. That's the thing, you know, Ivan Toney does work hard. He's not afraid to run around and get stuck in. I don't know, I just think I like the option of having a guy who is a bit of, not a target man, but he can play a target man, but a guy who he just offers us something different. And that's why I quite like the idea. I mean, look, if it's 30 million, he's not going to be on the market for long. If it's 40 million, he's not going to be on the market long. If it's 50 million, he probably isn't on the market long. I'm intrigued. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Santiago Gimenez. So Kevin Rudy Giletti, who said that Tottenham are looking for a new striker to strengthen the attack. So Toney can buy in here. Santiago Gimenez appears to be the priority. Contacts with Feyenoord are going on for weeks. Goodman, strongly followed by Inter, remains a concrete option in case of no agreement with the Mexican. Obviously, he's talking about Santiago Gimenez. Look, for me, if I'm honest, I think he will go to Inter. And I'm talking about Gudmundsson, by the way. I think he will go to Inter. Either of Milan teams. I think he would go to either Milan team. On Santiago Gimenez, I saw a little bit of pushback and people kind of going, like, he's going to cost 50, 60 million. And honestly, I was thinking about it and I was like, 50, 60 million, 30 to 40 million on Ivan Toney. I think I'm going Ivan Toney, and then, you know, in that time it allows you to get a striker in and develop them, because Sonny's still going to be a little bit older than Ivan Toney. Both those guys will still be here for a few years if we were to go the Ivan Toney route. But the fact that Santi is going to cost 50-60 million for a guy from the Eredivisie, it makes me a bit nervous. Now, I trust Ange's system. I trust the guys, in terms of maybe creating enough chances for him. It's not like he's going to go to Man United. And God bless Rasmus Højlund, because that man lives off, doesn't even live off scraps. I don't know how he even gets goals sometimes. I don't even know, because they just hate supplying him with any sort of real service. At Spurs, we don't have that difficulty. We want to create that for the striker. We want the striker to be, on the score sheet. But there's something about the Eredivisie, I think we think about Vincent Janssen, and it definitely burns us. And I get that. And I think with Ivan Toney, you just know it's going to be goals. You know what you're going to get, because he's already done it in the Premier League for a team that, just isn't as good. And there's not having a dig. Not having a dig before anyone does think I'm having a dig. But 50-60 million on Santiago Gimenez, for me, I think I'd rather that go to an out-and-out marquee winger. I'd rather an Eberechi Eze. I've always, look, you know me, Eberechi Eze. I'm on that fan train. I want him at Spurs. But if you were to get an Eze and a Toney, you're ready to rock and roll. Would it happen? Probably not. But you would be ready to rock and roll. Get yourself a midfielder and a centre half, and that's why I think if you were to go that route, you get a cheap centre half. You go Lloyd Kelly or Tosin Adarabioyo, because they're on a free, and then a midfielder. You've already got Bergval coming in. You may need to get another 6, but you're not going to go big on the 6 because you already went big on the attack, and that's as much as we can. By the way, I'm not saying we can't, and I know people going, "Oh, we can. We got the money." I know we can. I'm also trying to be realistic in the world of how it's going to work instead of how it could work. And that's why I think you only go one winger or an attacker that's marquee. And I think Ivan Toney you could deem as a marquee as well as a Santiago Gimenez. And for me, if I had a Santiago Gimenez or an Eberechi Eze, I want the Eze. I do. But those reports surrounding Spurs and strikers, that is peculiar. And that makes me think, is he looking at maybe moving Sonny back to left wing and putting a striker, thinking, look, I've got then 2 options up top who are going to score me goals? Potentially. But also, we're going to be playing 2 or 3 times a week next season, that we're going to need a striker to allow Sonny to have a week off. We're going to need options there to allow other players, Desti Udogie, to have a game off or 2. Pedro Porro, Vicario even, So I don't hate the idea. Look, with European football, the demands are bigger. You see what has happened to Newcastle. You see what's happened to Brighton. Not saying we're their size. Obviously, we're a bit bigger. But what I'm saying is if you don't have the right things in place, you can suffer. And that's why we need 4 or 5 this window. Genuinely. They talk about 3 or 4. We need 4 or 5. That's my general thoughts. But anyway, guys, then the video. I hope you did enjoy. Drop a like on the video if you did. Hit me in the comment section your thoughts and feelings about the Ivan Toney report from Florian Plettenberg, as well as the report on Santiago Gimenez and Albert Gudmundsson. I'm interested to see what you guys think of both, all 3 of those. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification for more. But anyway, guys, then the video. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.